Welcome back. Doing some cleaning, organizing, coffee, editing, an update, and some sort of charging. I have gotten the DJI Neo, if you follow along, because I've got some good views on the content I've put out for the Neo. And, all right, let me pull this battery, one sec. And, I've done some editing with it and experimenting and watching millions of other videos on it. And I've decided, because of Prime Days, to get something for it. And I think it definitely needs it based on some of its limitations on what it can handle. I picked up, for 20 bucks on Amazon, some ND filters. I don't know if I'm going to take this off with one hand. Hold on. There you have it. So that's an ND8, and I'm going to start there, and then some of the bandos. I'm not going to take this to a large indoor bando where lighting sucks. There's nothing you can do. The Avata 1 had a hard time with low light. Avata 2 does a lot better, and we've kind of compensated by adding lights to it. This one would be tough. I could add LEDs to it and do all that. Not that this video is ever going to be seen by Original Dobo, and I would love to see a variation change of his, I forget what they call them. They're not rib riders, but there's something else that he made for these. Instead of the hoops, and if this makes it to him, this is why. So if you're seeing this, bro, here you go. The little hoops go from side to side. I would love to see these little ribs go up and down, so I could run an LED strip kind of all the way through it, so that way it would still have its protection and it'd be able to protect the LEDs. So that is something I would love to see. So if anybody has social media, because I don't do anything besides YouTube, send it to Original Dobo. Love to hear what he thinks about it. And that would be cool for the Avata 1 and 2 if you have the protectors to, again, have the ribs to go up and down, and then you could stream the LEDs inside of that. That's my idea. But anyway, one thing that I have not talked about and would keep reminding myself to do it, and I never do it. I watch a lot of videos on how to make footage better, because I'm trying to learn. I'm always growing. And everybody says ND filters. And ND filters mainly because people want cinematic motion blur. Half the time we're flying pretty freaking slow, so that really doesn't apply to me. And some of the details I want you to see, I don't want blurred. But there are there are times where I fly faster or do different stuff in the lighting conditions. My main issue, and I've never seen anybody explain or come up with a solution for it, and I'd love to be the first to talk about it and maybe start something. We fly in the trees a lot. Canopy crusading. We fly bandos a lot. And sometimes when you go from in and out, the lighting conditions are not possible to run an ND filter indoors because of the darkness, or when you fly outdoors and you need the ND filter, or just some of these very exposed open bandos that show, there's no ceiling, but it's sort of darker or something inside. That's why I tend to leave it on auto, but limit how much light, the ISO or whatever it is, the maximum. I raise it anywhere from 100 to 400 based on lighting to try to be able to see as much as I can. I'm not a professional. I'm not selling my footage. So if you see a transition a little bit from brighter to darker, hold on, because of what the camera settings are, it's no skin off my back. But is there a solution? Is there something out there or settings you can set that make the harshest lighting conditions that we fly in any better? Because I've tried in the beginning, like jumping on the bandwagon, ND filter on the first Avata, ND. Well, I learned my lesson when I had it set, and I did manual settings on the camera. We're flying outside and they looked phenomenal. Yes, but then I followed my buddy into a barn, in an old empty barn that was pitch black inside. As soon as I got in there, there was no adjustment of the camera, and I physically couldn't see anything in there. So I lost a really cool shot of flying through all the beams and stuff that he did because I had the ND on. So I keep steering away from it. I do not have an ND filter on my Avata 2, and I'm contemplating possibly an ND8 for some of the shots I'm reviewing and going over now that would have made it a little nicer, but I'm very happy with the footage I'm getting from it. This little guy is always basically going to be outdoors and in brighter / cloudy conditions where I'm not going to really tend this one to flying bandos unless it's super open and bright enough, and then I can use this. The difference I've seen in some of the videos from people using them definitely is what's missing from mine. We went to the abandoned dog track and flew and was very impressed with the footage until certain shots when I went from inside. I was actually flying up an old escalator, and then the ceiling and everything was missing except for some beams. As soon as I was coming up, it got all blown out. And again, when I go and I color, I pick a frame that's got, a little bit of whatever, brightness, darkness, and surroundings to try to choose how I'm going to adjust the colors. And no matter what I did, it was perfect for one and shitty for the other. The ND filter would have made the difference in this circumstance because it was bright enough inside this place where I flew. I opted to not fly in the super dark locations because I have the Avata 2 that's all LED'd out where it brightens it up enough. I did do a really killer gap in that edit with this thing through what was left of a chair from a fire. That was just the arms, kind of like this, the arms of the chair that I freaking went through really cool, but then it was super dark in there. And again, then I had to change my color profile and stuff like that to bring some levels up and down and whatnot. So this is going to be geared more towards brighter locations, and I'm fine with that. The Avata 2 is my go-to, but this thing has a lot of potential. I brought it with me on my adventure yesterday with F and Chet, where we brought our electric scooters out to a location that saved us a lot of... We're older, beating ourselves up, walking a ridiculous distance to get to a location to fly, and then walking all the way back. The scooters saved us, made our trip up there, a 2-minute trip instead of a half hour or whatever. But then we also took them into the woods and we're finding these crazy trails and end up whooping our own old asses anyway. But it was fun. It got us to our locations faster, set up, and then just take off and go to other locations. So we saved a lot of time. So it was absolutely fun. But on our first kind of trip up the mountain and where we wanted to go, I just set this thing up. I had my GoPro on my mask, my helmet. So I wanted to try the audio from that and then link it to this. And then I tried walking around and doing all that. I didn't realize that when you switch from the settings you had it on when you fly with a controller, that it doesn't stay that way when you go to the phone, because I wanted to just have some follow me, and it was all 4K 30, and I hate 4K 30 because of what it looks like in the goggles. Even though I wasn't flying, I don't like there's just a slight choppiness in the footage. It's not smooth. I'd rather do it 1080p and upscale it. So I may use some of it, just little clips, but the follow point part I really liked. I tried my phone with the audio walking around, and I was pleasantly surprised that and again, maybe it's based on the phone, based on how the microphone, some of the videos I've watched some of the bigger YouTubers, it just, the way it translated through my TV and the speakers and stuff, that the phone sounded like an old school phone call. Now everything's HD in the phone, so when you talk to somebody physically on the phone, it's crisp, it's clear, it's loud, it's good. So I wanted to see what it sounded like with that following me around and talking into the phone, and I'm quite pleased. I have the Z Fold 5, and it did really, really good. I was happy with the audio. So I may do a comparison video. I know it's going to be a lot of editing between using my 11. Is that an 11? I think it's an 11. I forgot which GoPro I have. But I use this so you can see my perspective, the perspective of this. The thing never broke. And again, I didn't drive off fast. I did a couple like power burst takeoffs while we were driving and riding, not driving. And it stayed with me. But again, I didn't speed off and stay speeding because other people were hiking and walking around. So we just kept a decent speed, 8 miles an hour-ish. And it stayed with me the whole time until I got to the top. I kind of walked. I got off my scooter while, I scootered, stopped, and it stayed with me as I walked through what was left of it. It looked like a garage. No house found, just the garage. And I walked in, and as I walked through, it started to land itself, and I thought it lost me. But I said, warning, low battery. So it got 12 minutes-ish of one straight consecutive flight, which was super badass. Very happy. And again, I've got 4 batteries for the thing. I got that one, that one, that one, and there's one more floating around somewhere. Good question. Oh, over here. So we got plenty of batteries. But, like I said, entry level into the flying game, or if you're a seasoned vet, whatever it is, and you have a DJI Neo, I recommend ND filters. Again, I'm nobody in this world. I went out and bought these on my own. People don't send me shit. I guess I'm okay with that, because if I don't like something, or if I have to review it, I'm going to be as brutally honest as it gets. And I'm very picky with what I use and stuff. So I think that's all I got for now. I got to get back to editing. If you have any questions and recommendations, I just did a video because a follower had asked about the case that I modified, because it doesn't come with the ribs. I had to go in and do that myself to fit these little snug hugger, whatever they're called. And yes, this thing fits with that on there. And there's this small trend of people that are out there going, did you know you can fly with this on there? I don't know why anybody would even, unless it's clickbait, fly with this fucking thing on there. Yes, it would protect your camera, but you're going through a semi-tinted, not super clear piece of plastic to get footage. So I can't stand the half-ass bullshit videos people put out just to get views. That's annoys the living crap out of me. It just drives me nuts. But yeah, so explicit ND filters, DJI Neo. That's my recommendation. And there's a bunch out there. This is the magnetic style, the sunny something. They're pretty popular. But yeah, you just double clean around the edge of the lens. You got a little piece of metal that sticks with double-sided tape to the underneath and around the lens, and then you just pop on and pop off. It's got a 16 and a 32, so I'm definitely going to try these out. Again, bright days and then help. And please, DJI, update the app so when you're in it, you can take the sharpness and drop it, or allow for a flat color profile. That is my recommendation. I hope there's enough people yelling at you that you guys will do that. That's one of my major issues with this thing, so I'm out.